Okay.
I guess, yeah, let's get started.
And we started.
All right. The beast had its first day in court, and it looks like you at least have been able to muddy the waters a little bit, and the case does not seem as clear-cut as it seemed before. You've been able to discredit the crown witness of the prosecution and point out very succinctly that the beast not only doesn't show the signs that the witness described, the wounds of the blood came in, but also that everything the witness could provide was just as trivial as what any person yanked off the streets would have been able to tell the court. Nonetheless, the court of public opinion is still sticking to its verdict that seems much harder to sway than the legal argument. And the beast was let out of the courtroom under jeers and lots of curses on its name. The first crime that the beast was charged with has therefore now been dutifully processed. And the court will move on to the next crime, or series of crimes, we should say. The murders of the children of Hergstag. The trial is scheduled for tomorrow. It will follow pretty much the same schedule that today had, which means that you will have to deliver any evidence and register any potential witnesses before 10 a.m. when the trial begins. It is now 2:30, and you are in Gustav Kappel's office, going over today's proceedings. The poor man is still in tatters over everything and very, very nervous, still sweating from the ordeal of being put in front of the judges and the audience. And he says, and that prosecutor is just so slick. I mean, for a moment there I thought you had them, but how he was able to almost turn everything back around on you. If you had done such meticulous research on site, I don't think that any of this would have worked. But I don't think we'll be as lucky with Hergstag. Things look much more grim there, and you know how much the common folk hate child murderers.
I would assume more than just town's common folk would hate child murders. But I don't think we should be wasting any more time with whatever it is we're doing here, and we should be on our way for all.
Yes, well, if the townsfolk are looking to hate on someone, then perhaps we should find a proper target for their ire instead of our defendant.
And who do you plan on throwing under the bus?
I sincerely doubt we will be able to find the real culprit in... How much do we have? 12 hours?
Probably, yes.
We still need to get to Hergstag and back.
Oh, Hergstag is not too far away. It's easier to get to than Morast as well. There's a road that will take you all the way there. And,
Good. I'll have the carriage prepared immediately.
Any place you recommend for a bite to eat in Herstag?
Okay. Are you serious?
Yeah, what's the local cuisine there?
The town's been deserted.
Mhm.
Oh wait, Geier would have known that, wouldn't he?
Knowledge local.
Right away. Just local.
Oh, well,
I have history, or no, I don't have local.
while, well, you can still,
Yeah, I can
No,
still
you
roll.
actually-
I mean, he's still from here.
yeah, but since you don't have ranks, you can't get higher than 10. Yeah, and I mean, who knows all the tiny little towns around
Yeah.
Ustalav, and especially Feeland. But before I forget, Anthony gets a hero card.
Mhm.
Dum, 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 dum. I will deal one card to Anthony. Where is he? There is he. Deal. You should have received a card.
Yes.
Excellent.
Interesting.
Okay, so couple, yeah, surprised to hear Guy ask that question. He says, "The town's been deserted. They abandoned it since the attacks. That's 7 months ago. Yeah, 7 months, and it was a terrible ordeal. Who would blame them?"
By the attacks, you mean attacks by the beast, I suppose.
Yes, those
Uh-huh.
terrible, terrible murders.
And where are the refugees now? Or are they scattered all across the county?
As far as I know, the prosecution has named 3 former inhabitants of Hergstag as their witnesses. They're sisters. Their names are. He goes through huge pile of neatly organized folders. Here it is. Garrow, Starl, and Flitched. And I believe they goes through the pile again. Yes, they own a small windmill on the outskirts of Lepidstadt.
I see. And of course, if we go visit them, it would probably be in very bad form from legal point speaking.
Don't think so, and unless you try to intimidate them or try to bribe them, you should be allowed to talk to the witnesses, of course.
Yeah, Arronax glances at Lady Evelyn, like, yeah, of course, no bribing them, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Well, no time like the present. Lady Evelyn, is the carriage here already?
I'm sure I would have had the servants draw it up as soon as the trial was finished. Knowing we have a long day ahead of us still.
So, do we know where the witnesses are right now?
Yes, they're here, as indicated on the map. Yeah, no?
Yeah.
I saw the thing,
That's where they have the windmill.
Well, in that case, let's start with them before we head to the town, maybe?
Yeah, good idea.
Fair point.
Okay, I will prepare all the paperwork for tomorrow. It's the least I can do. And thus, he dives into his papers, where he's probably best put to use.
Yeah, that is probably the best you can do.
You make your way over from the courthouse to the windmill. It's a small windmill. Probably not going to make them a fortune, but this should be enough to sustain them. It's clean, it's functional, and it's right there on the outskirts. So it has ready access to grains being brought into town, and merchants from town then come to pick up the ground flour right there, which is very convenient for the farmers. The three sisters run the entire place themselves. They're all in their late 40s. And after dealing with some of their clients and finishing hauling around some incredibly heavy-looking sacks of flour and grain, they stretch out their shoulders a little bit from the back-breaking work and greet you, or meet you, and say, I really don't know why you need to come visit us. We're going to tell you everything we know tomorrow, and then we will make sure that that beast gets what it deserves. Oh, Garrow, don't be so stern about things. They're just doing their jobs.
Well, it seems you've already made up your minds about how tomorrow is gonna work out, yeah?
Well, it's hard to push those memories out of our minds. We all still remember those children.
So
How they-
you saw it? You saw
No,
the beast.
we did not see the beast at first. And they just vanished one by one, and then they returned as ghosts.
Wait,
And then
what do you mean vanished?
they just... One day they would be running around the fields of Herkstag, and they just disappeared. They just nowhere to be seen.
But no marks of violence, no blood, nothing that would indicate an attack by a beast.
There's no way of telling. None of our own relatives were hurt, and the parents made sure that the poor victims would be properly treated. Certainly didn't go around showing off the wounds, which I'm sure were terrible. You can give me sense motive checks.
Yeah, Geier just listening intently, but
Yeah.
he's not gonna.
I don't have sense.
Oh
motive.
yeah.
Twenty 15, 22. Okay. All right.
Are those bells in the soundtrack or from outside?
They're in the soundtrack.
From the game,
Ah.
yeah.
I wonder, sisters, did you ever... You said you didn't see the beast at first, but did you eventually catch sight of him within the confines of the town?
Oh, why, yes, of course. It's just, there was the audacity of this terrible creature. One day it just walked boldly into the village with one of those poor dead children. A girl, beautiful girl, named Elsa. We all still remember how the beast laughed as it carried the child's broken body. And as soon as we saw the beast, of course, all of our good men set upon it with pitchforks. But try as they might, they couldn't catch it, and it escaped into the swamp. But it will not escape justice now.
Wait,
And
you said he was laughing.
Yes, a terrible grin on its sneering face.
and what did the beast do with the body once he brought little Elsa into town?
Well, he, of course, had to let go of her when we were chasing him, and I'm sure that Elsa's parents handled her body after that. I don't actually remember that part.
And you're quite sure that none of you ever saw the remains after the beast's attacks? You never saw any indication of its...
Oh, we saw what remained of them. They came to the village every night, and one after another. We could take one haunted house on the outskirts of town, but with their numbers increasing, there was no way that we could stay in our town, and we just all left that cursed place.
And what did happen to the families of the victims? I find it curious that none of them are here to testify.
Oh, I don't know. I think everybody was just traumatized by the whole experience. Most people turned their back on the haunted parts of Ustalav, and I actually know of no one who stayed. They all moved to sunnier shores around the inner sea.
Was there anyone who disagreed with your opinion that it was the beast responsible? Perhaps someone had a different opinion.
It was obvious. He walked right into town. You would have to be a fool to disagree.
But you did not see him attack anyone. He just carried the body.
Well, the body, you should have seen the body. It was broken and mangled, and it was clearly savaged by that foul creature.
By any foul creature, but we still can't say 100% for sure that it was this foul creature that did it.
But it's just lawyery semantics. It was clear. We saw it with our own eyes.
Do you remember, I know that it must be difficult to recall, but anything specific about Elsa when you saw her? What had happened to her? Any clue on her form?
Oh, you can give me a diplomacy check.
This should actually be one less than what it is, because I had already put the skill points in, but...
Okay. Nice. Evelyn does her best to make those three feel comfortable, to share their experience, and one of them finally confides she was pale as chalk, just like the flour we grind here. And she looked like every bit of her soul had left her body. It was terrifying. Just terrifying. There was nothing really that stuck out about her. It's not like... not like Karen.
Karen?
Yeah, you see, it was different with Karen. She died in her own bed. just 2 days after we drove the beast from Herkstag. And her father told me that he heard her screaming, but by the time he reached her, she was dead, without a mark on her, and with no signs of entry into to the house.
And you say this happened 2 days after the beast was gone.
Yes, such a vile creature to come back and finish what it started. Just malice and evil.
And
Stitched
not a
to
mark.
evil.
Not a mark on her body. Was she also pale and empty looking, shall we say?
That's what her father said, yes. Oh, it has made us all suffer so badly. You have not met these children. They were all so gentle, kind, and just lively little angels. Now they're all dead.
And I beg pardon. I know how this must sound, but I just have to ask, what inspired the three of you to come forward, who were obviously your lives and your entire village was impacted by these attacks? But again, I can't help but notice that you are in some ways secondary to everything that happened there.
Well, we're the only ones that are still available, so I think that's why Mr. Geiger sought us out. And we're gonna make sure that he burns for what he did. Don't call him he. Flitched. It's not worth that. It's just an it.
You mentioned the little girls returning. Did the spirits try to contact you or communicate in any way?
They were ghost driven mad by what murder was committed to them. They were only out to take their revenge on the living, on us for not moving faster against the beast. Or I don't know what it was, but there was nothing left in there of those children, of that I'm sure. They were just evil phantoms.
Did they do anything in particular, like target any house more than others, or any family, or anything like that?
They continued to haunt their parents. And then at night they would wander off, and they would be seen even on the far side of town. Nobody was safe at that point.
I don't suppose we don't have like a map of Hergstag or anything, do we?
Well, if you have anything to write, you could ask them.
Yeah, I basically just want to ask them if they can give us a rough idea of where the houses of the families who were affected, whose children were murdered, are.
And they'll give you a rough sketch of the town itself, and they'll mark the houses. 6 of them.
Okay. And which one was Elsa's?
That one down here.
And Karen's?
This one.
And do you happen to remember the names of any of the other children who were murdered?
Of course. We'll always remember those names. They were Martin, Gard, Rachel, Alan, Karen, and Elsa.
Is anyone note-taking right now? Okay.
I mean, well, yeah, the names, but not the map.
Will you all I take it you all live here or nearby?
We all share living quarters in this mill.
If we wanted to reach out to you again and speak with you later this evening, would we be able to do that here? Obviously, we don't want to disturb you too much, especially with the trial coming so early in the morning, but only in the case of great urgency.
I wouldn't know what else we could possibly tell you, but yes, of course, we are open until 6, and after that, you can ring the bell. One of us is usually up until way into night, way after nightfall. If you see no lights in the windows, then all of us are sleeping.
Very well. Gentlemen, do you have anything further you'd like to ask these most helpful women?
Yeah, I've heard enough.
Mm, yes, I
Geier's
think.
vulture and his shoulders quacks loudly. Ah! Ah! Yeah, I agree.
Well, I think we have everything we can get here.
Yes, I suppose it, we, we should now turn to more esoteric ways of gaining knowledge.
Thank you very much, ladies, for your assistance. We may call on you again, or if not, we shall surely see you at the trial tomorrow. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome, and we hope that you will let these children rest and grant them their revenge on their murderer.
Yes, I only seek that justice be done.
So you take your leave.
Well then. Does anybody need to refresh themselves before we hop in the carriage?
Speaking of refreshing ourselves, do we still have that wand of lesser restoration? I believe I didn't get much sleep tonight, so I could use a poke.
Yeah, none of us have gotten much when it
We
comes to
do
sleep.
have that, yeah. I believe you're
Oh, right, I
more
have it.
prone to using it.
Yeah.
Oh, you have it, because I have it in my inventory.
Well, I mean, yeah, then probably Arronax handed it back to you after he poked it into someone. And now it's time to poke himself.
Yeah. So after that, it should have 10 charges left.
I must say, this is probably the most expensive way of getting full night's rest.
Yeah, well, if you could spare one of those taps, I would also be very grateful.
Mm-hmm. Well, we will tap Geier as well then.
So you're heading out to Herkstag?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And don't spare the horses. We can make new ones.
Easy for you to say, they're not your horses.
All right. The carriage ride is as comfortable as it always has been, and is fairly quick. Herkstag is only roughly, well, not even 10 miles away from Lippstadt. And you stop the carriage just outside of town when it comes into view. It's clearly abandoned, overgrown in places. Farmland has fallen to ruin. And now even the well-trodden pathways around town are not as easy to navigate anymore. Crops have gone to seed. High corn grows everywhere. And the farmhouse is all abandoned. You start looking through town, wandering down those dusty roads, peeking into houses on the left and right. Some furniture here, tables, washboards. And other places, homes completely given over to termites and cockroaches. But some of the houses have been marked for you, so it might be worth checking them out.
Are those blue circles imply that they were flooded?
No, those are the blue. Those are the marked houses. In addition to that, in addition to that, you see, because the town is fairly easy to take in, you see the town's chapel at what's marked as C1. C2 is Karen's house. At C3 is a scarecrow that's fallen, kind of hunched over looking. C4 is a tangle of willow trees that grows by the shores of the small lake that for some reason has been scarred by fire. And I believe that... Oh yeah, and then there's C5, which is just the top of a low hill outside of town.
C3 you said was a scarecrow?
Yeah.
C4 was...
A tangle of willow trees that looks like it was burned, scarred by fire.
And do we know which one was Elsa's house?
Elsa's house was this one.
Oh, can you do that again?
It's below
yeah.
C3.
I was doing my own notes.
Horses.
Shh.
My-
Yeah, they grow restless. They seem to feel a presence.
We should continue the rest of the way on foot. Jacopo, please tend the horses. We'll be back soon.
He nods. Doesn't seem to be very happy about this destination. Please, lady, be careful. Something doesn't seem right about this place.
Wise words.
I have a question about how this morning went on. I imagine that we just like got out of bed and jumped right for the investigation, right?
No, it's right after the trial day. The trial day ended at 2:30.
I mean before the trial, when we went looking
Oh,
for
yeah.
Vorstag, all that.
Yeah.
Vorstag.
Vorstag and grind, yeah. That was pretty much the first thing in the morning.
So I guess we did not do our daily preparations and all that.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, you did those. Sure. Yeah.
I would think we would have gotten up early enough to make that happen.
Okay.
And even also the fact if you didn't get enough sleep, that doesn't rob you of your daily reset. It just gives you that fatigued condition. Everything else would be too harsh.
Okay. Because there's like there's a need for a full hour to prepare spells and all that.
Yeah.
So I assume that we did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You went to the Chemic Works at around 8:30 in the morning. So
Lady Evelyn slept through that hour.
that's why she's not fatigued.
She's spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, I have already burned through a couple of my mesmerist tricks and my spells for the day, so
Mm-hmm.
gonna take it cautiously here.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone should still have their mesmerist trick in place, though. It's just I used one that was on me, and I used one on the beast, so I don't have any spares.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'd say. Oh, I don't have any on myself at all. I just realized because I had to switch. All right, yeah. So all of you have one, but not me. Well, shall we start at the start? C3 is the closest thing to us here.
You mean that creepy
That's-
looking scarecrow?
Yeah.
Does the scarecrow have a hat?
Wait, so you're gonna pass the first home?
I mean, there are plenty of first homes. Like this
Well, yeah, but I think we'll take it like one at a time, see if there's anything that stands out.
Yeah, but I mean the first marked one. You're gonna go past that too, to get straight to the scarecrow.
I don't know, I guess we should check.
We should probably
But-
check it out.
I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just asking.
If the house looks promising or interesting, then of course we will check it out.
Yeah, I feel like Evelyn would be more drawn to the houses where the spirits are than to a scarecrow.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if
Geier
there's-
will check the scarecrow.
Okay.
If only just to see what kind of hat the scarecrow has.
Okay. So the party moves into town, crossing the creaky, half-rotten bridge over that little creek that drains into the lake. And most of you stop at the abandoned house that was pointed out to you by the three sisters as the home of Ellen. While Geier takes a couple of steps further, it's like 100 feet from you, to inspect the scarecrow. So he'll take some time to get there. Alejandro will just go right next door.
No, wait. In that
What?
case, then I'll just stay with the party. I mean, if we're going to Elsa's house, we're going to pass by the scarecrow anyway. So
Okay, so you inspect the abandoned house first. Okay. Give me a perception check. Okay, Doctor. And obviously, Emaírel,
Jesus.
you hear the child's voice, and it goes, it's coming from somewhere beyond the house, behind the house. You would have to go around.
Do we use a planchette here?
Well, let's see if that's even necessary. I mean, technically, I don't hear anything, so.
So, like, yeah, in that case, like, Arronax, like, visibly shudders, like, and here I hoped we left this things in Harrowstone. Oh well, he like reaches in his pockets, pulling out the vial of holy water. just in case.
Give me another perception check, everyone.
It's actually a 15.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor included?
Yeah, everyone. That includes the doctor. Okay. Again, the doctor, Emaírel, but also Lady Evelyn. You hear that kid, that little kid's voice.
She's going to wander around to the back of the house.
And the others?
We're still hearing it come from the same direction?
Yeah. From somewhere behind the
Yeah, I
house.
guess.
Arronax will follow
Yeah, I
her.
guess we'll follow.
Yeah, and he would warn that, well, don't be deceived, Lady Evelyn. This it may sound like a little girl, but anything but.
All right. So, there's some tall grass growing around the house itself. Like I said, nature is reclaiming the entire village with great force. And you move around the house, listening for that voice again, when all of a sudden, let's see, we'll go with the order that you have: Evelyn, Emaírel, Geier, and Arronax. So Arronax, what's your flat-footed AC?
My flat-footed AC
Doesn't really matter, I'm
yeah,
sure.
It doesn't.
All of a sudden, sharp jaws spring shut around your ankle as you step into a bear trap, a rusty bear trap that lay hidden in the tall grass around the house. 12 points of damage,
Jesus, that's almost all my health.
and it almost cut off your leg, and pretty much makes you immobile.
Hey,
And
watch
well,
your step.
yeah, at this point, Dr. Arronax would say, "Ah, goddamn spirits! They're always out to get me. How could I get myself into this predicament? Get it away from me!
Watch your step.
Watch my step. You watch your step.
Stop fidgeting around if you want us to take this thing off your leg.
God, jeez, sweet
And
merciful
keep it down, will
Father.
you? Shh, you're gonna raise the dead.
Evelyn checks the ground around herself.
Well, looks like the doctor managed to step into the only trap that was here.
Can you disable the device doors?
Arronax, probably the blood loss, but you can't get it open. What was the question? Sorry, Emaírel.
Oh, if it was possible to disable bear traps instead of just brute forcing them.
Yeah. You could try to wriggle out with the escape artist. You could try to somehow unlock the mechanism with a disable device, or you could just, muscle it open.
Okay. Well, from now on, Emaírel is going to use his branch spear like a blind person's cane in front of him,
Mm-hmm.
So 19 is not
just
enough,
in
right?
case.
So basically, always looking out for traps. What was that, Cars?
I mean, 19 is not enough?
19 is not enough. No.
Okay. In that case, Arronax will take a deep breath. Wait a sec. Wait one moment. It will be all right now. And he will, well, drink his last extract of cure moderate potion, cure moderate wounds, making himself 11, 18 hit points. It's almost as healthy as he used to be. Like, okay, that took some pain off. No, please let me out.
Is anyone going to help the poor man?
Geier is just leaning on his shovel, kind of like, his thin and decrepit figure, hat kind of like slumped over his face, trying to not laugh. Not much I
Emaírel is
can-
going to pick one of the short sword that we picked up and try to use that as leverage for prying that thing open.
Geier will assist, like try to stick the head of the shovel in there, help with the leverage.
All right, give me
Probably with too much
strength by Emaírel and aid by Geier. Yeah, even with the additional leverage, that thing is just really, really tightly shut.
Well,
And
Doctor,
Geier is not much help.
well, Doctor, I hate to break the news to you, but we're gonna.
I'm not cutting my
your
leg off.
You got to. You'll be fine.
Perception checks, everyone.
Oh
10.
boy.
Emaírel, you hear two children's voices singing.
Oh, you find that funny? You find that funny, you dead children?
From what direction?
Wait, 30. Close and moving around you.
Okay, who has a scrap of cloth? We need to make a tourniquet if we're gonna cut this leg off.
Just wait a second. I can't believe I keep having to do this. And at this point, Arronax will pull out a vial with bright red liquid, and because by sheer coincidence he prepared a strength mutagen today. I can't imagine why. And he will drink it. He will roll for his unstable mutagen. 3. Nah. Well, okay. And his Aronax skin will grow unhealthy tone of color, and he will significantly fill out his shirt with sheer muscle mass.
Mm-hmm.
Something if I have to do something, I should do it yourself. He says, and he pushes with his healthy leg on the bear trap, trying to open it himself. Like a little help here.
Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Evelyn turns to the children's voices and she goes, "Hello, children. Was that a little prank that you set up?"
Give me another perception check.
Yes, not my strength. It's a 12.
You listen intently. No answer.
Mm. Could I, by any chance, try to use some of my acid that I created to destroy the spring in the trap?
Well, maybe not destroy it, but certainly weaken it.
Well, let's do that.
Geier will turn towards Evelyn, and he's heard nothing. He hasn't heard the laughing or anything, has he? He's like, Miss Evelyn, is everything okay with you? You seem to be talking to yourself.
I'm just speaking to the children.
What children?
I'm sure you all think that this is very amusing, but people have been hurt. Now you ought to come out and apologize.
This Geier will shift his attention, and like the way you look at a magic, one of those magic pictures, he'll try to unfocus his eyes and see if he can detect any magic.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that takes a couple of rounds. Tune out all the magic items you have on yourselves. But no, there's definitely something wrong with this place, but it doesn't seem to be magic as such.
Alright, Evelyn.
Another perception check?
26.
Okay,
Hey, I
Evelyn.
rolled one higher.
Evelyn, Emaírel. Okay, Evelyn and Emaírel. You hear three voices now, and they are all around you, as if they are dancing around you, and they go, "Hier sind der Kinder drei."
Do I recognize the language?
It sounds like Varisian.
Yeah, it's Ustalavic Varisian.
But
Shit.
Arronax is a bit too preoccupied, apparently, with his leg to translate.
We need to get him out of there quickly. As soon as he uses his acid flask, Emaírel will try again.
Okay, another strength.
And this time, Arronax will help himself.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, the metal is still holding strong.
Does it feel like something feasible?
It should give way at some point. Now that it's been weakened by the acid, although it looks like the disabling the mechanism is probably no longer an option because it's essentially been broken.
Is the bear trap affixed to the ground in any way, or is it just stuck on his foot?
It's stuck on his foot, and of course it's pretty heavy. So now that he's that strong, he might be able to move around, but at a half speed.
Maybe we should try to take care of this a little further from here. Can you help him up?
Yeah, well, I mean, he probably is up since he tries to himself to. Well, although, yeah, it's. Well, Arronax will pull himself up. Yeah.
Maybe go back to the carriage and see if they have any tools that could help.
I was thinking something similar. Jacopo keeps a set in case he needs to shoe a horse or something like that, if it's thrown its shoe. Elsa? Elsa, are you there?
Another perception check. Instead of the singing, you just hear this many voiced whispers.
Let's get the doctor back to the carriage.
Come, Doctor, you can use my shovel too as a clutch it.
Oh, no.
Help me before I can limp fine
It's-
without it.
So the doctor hobbles off, and the
Yeah,
party
you know,
looks back at the house, the
Yeah, we-
chill running up their spine, and you hear, this time even without a perception check, a many-voiced laughter, a giggle that kind of crescendos, and it goes, and then it just fades into this almost growling wind that blows in your faces, and it's icy cold.
Ugh. Yeah, Arronax then limps away, feeling himself now more like a chained spectre with him than an alchemist. Ugh.
You finally get to the coach, where Yakumo indeed keeps tools that effectively work like a crowbar in this situation. In fact, they probably keeps a crowbar. Yeah, and taking 20, eventually you'll manage to wrestle the bear trap off of Aronax's foot. And miraculously, there's only a little scratch left.
Yes. Well, it's not miraculous, but thanks to the progress of science. Ugh. Mumbles Arronax, massaging his foot. Speaking of progress of science, I think I will clean this up as well. He will take his cure light wounds. 1d8 plus, well, so it would be 4. Yeah, 5 hit points. It rolls on the 1d8, so plus 4 my level.
All right, well, we've wasted enough time with this. I suggest we get right back to it.
Indeed.
Yeah, Doctor, mind where you walk.
You mind when you walk. I will never forget this.
I'm just trying to be helpful, okay?
Evelyn notices Emaírel walking around with his spear out, and she's gonna start following, like, after his footsteps. Basically, just
Yes.
wherever he clears, she's gonna go after.
That's a good idea. Let's walk in a single file.
Exactly.
Geier hobbles last in line.
Yeah, and Arronax then will follow Lady Evelyn.
We ought to have that planchette at the ready, I suppose, in case they wish to communicate with us that way, instead of simply laughing.
At my misfortune. This
I
is
do
why-
have it on me.
Okay,
Who
so
has
you-
it?
I do have it on my backpack.
Okay.
So you want to go back to that house?
Yeah, we didn't really check anything in the house. The only thing we discovered was a bear trap.
I wonder if the children didn't seem to respond to us immediately. I wonder if maybe we can find some sort of clue around town, something that will help us interact with them in a more meaningful way than them simply snickering at our misfortune. Perhaps we ought not to visit the haunted places until we have a better sense of what's happened here.
Yes, I find it very suspicious that there's no blood, no violence, no bodies. Say what you will about the beast, but that's not his style.
Well, remember, he told us himself that there was something that stole the children's souls and
And he
turned
was
them into
trying to
ghosts.
stop it. Elsa the ghost.
She seems like she would be the most helpful one to speak to if we can find her. Her house is down here. Maybe we would have better luck if we went straight there. Or maybe we should investigate those willow trees down the way.
Well, I mean, they all seem to be down the same street, so
Elsa's house, I believe, would be our best bet.
So I think we're going to end up hitting C3 as on our way to Elsa's house.
Okay, so you're gonna kind of give the Ellen's house a little berth.
Yeah. Check out the scarecrow on the way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you check out the scarecrow, or in fact, what seemed to be a scarecrow. You see bones jutting from its tattered rags. And as you move in, check it out more closely, you realize that it's actually the withered body of a man, his legs still clamped in a bear trap.
what? Oh, that. I'm sorry. I think this experience had me scarred a little bit, both physically and mentally.
Can Geier tell how long the corpse has been there?
Give me a heal check.
Or could I use Profession Gravedigger for that?
Yep.
And I'm looking for any clues as to who he might have been.
Okay. So, the body itself has already skeletized. Is that a word? It has turned into a skeleton essentially, and all that's left of his clothes are just rags. But he's still wearing a turquoise on a leather thong around his neck. And he carries a couple of gold and silver pieces and a small silver pocket knife, as well as a set of masterwork thieves' tools in his rotting pockets.
I think.
What kind of hat is he wearing?
Yeah.
He's not wearing a hat. But, yeah, you would guess that he has been dead for a couple of months, but you doubt that he's has been around back when people were actually living in this town.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
Nope, 7 months.
I have my notes here. Oh,
Yeah, 7 months ago.
7 months ago. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so turquoise.
7 and 4 months.
Yeah, it's worth 100
Gold.
gold pieces. It's 12 gold pieces and 22 silver. And the pocket knife is worth 25.
Are we gonna throw this into the party loot?
I'm not sure it would be wise to disturb Dad even more here.
Evelyn just takes the stuff.
Well, it's your funeral. Oh no! Wait.
And she takes the masterwork thieves tools and she tosses them to Arronax. Might have found these helpful.
Like what are you doing? Don't you know some of this the stuff about some touching dead people stuff? And you lived in Ravenger, don't you?
Geier will try to see what Evelyn is taking out of the corpse.
So don't you have enough haunts on your soul?
She kind of looks at Arronax and she says, "More than you know, my good doctor." And she just continues pocketing the stuff, but I'm just gonna add it to the party notes here.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, you said there was 12 gold pieces?
12 gold, 22 silver. And the pocket knife is worth 25.
While the rest of the party are inspecting and going over what they found, Geier will try to discreetly take one of the bones.
The whole thing collapses, leaving Geier standing there with a single bone in his hand next to a pile of dead thief.
Well, at least this way it would be easier to bury him, I guess.
Yes, indeed. Doctor, you mind helping me dig this hole? My back is really giving me trouble. And he hands over the shovel.
Well,
You do realize there is a living creature that we could be assisting right now with our investigation.
Of course. We will be here. Well.
Okay, I guess if the body's been out for this long, we can always return later and conduct the rites and do a burial.
I suppose we could prioritize, yeah. Or I could give it burial in fire if will it count?
I don't think that's a very nice thing to do.
Yeah, let's just wait a bit.
Okay.
Elsa's house?
Yeah.
Elsa's house.
Okay. Let's see. Oh. Looks like I've never actually used that one before. Wait. There we are. Okay, so you move to Elsa's house, and at this point, the sun is already low on the horizon. It is fairly late in the year, and the sun sets early. And as you get to her house, you find it in just as bad a state as Ellen's house. Overgrown. The first floor has collapsed onto the second floor. It's little more than a pile of broken cross beams and plaster and brick.
Yeah, you know what? You go first there now, okay?
Emaírel is going to concentrate on a spell and then start looking for clues.
$11, $20.
It's actually a 10.
Yeah, right, 10 and 20. So, Emaírel, you walk around the house, you inspect what can be inspected. In that pile guy, you don't sense any magic. And Okay, Doctor and Emaírel. Let's see. Okay. Poke around for a little bit, but you find nothing that sticks out. It looks like the ruins have been picked clean of anything that may have been useful. Maybe the townspeople took everything with them when they left. Or maybe it was looted. Hard to tell, but there's nothing here. Except for this faint hum.
Like Chinese folks hum.
Yes.
I don't like music. Last time we heard music.
Planchette, get the planchette. Where is it?
Emaírel, do you mind if I give that a go?
Sure, be my guest.
Okay.
Does the hum sound like what are they called? Like a children's song?
Yeah, it's similar to the one that you heard before. It's a different voice. Girl's voice.
Okay, Geier will try to use the planchette.
Okay. So you open the wooden box, you place it on the ground, you get out the thin wooden board. And it all has all these letters and numbers printed on it. And okay, so you sit down, cross-legged, you rest your fingers lightly upon the planchette's surface, and they concentrate for a minute or so. And then the planchette begins to move ever so slightly. So you may ask questions now. Something is listening.
Should I
Who
ask?
are...
Which
ask
one
who we're
should I ask
speaking
if
to.
she's responsible for the deaths of the children?
Emaírel is just going to chime quickly and say that we only get one use, one question.
Oh,
Okay, no, then that's a bad question because we know it wasn't the beast.
let's... Perhaps we should ask who killed. Who or where the
But it's
killer
only
is.
yes or no questions.
Oh, damn.
Or by spelling out a single word from the letters arranged on the board.
Well, it could certainly spell out a name.
Or we could ask, are we in danger?
Well, of course we're in danger. There's bear traps everywhere. What sort of idiotic question is that?
Hey,
Ask who killed this child. Who killed you?
No, but
At the very least, it'll point us in some sort of direction.
no, it's not who killed her. It's because, well, didn't the beast claim that it was her who was turning the children into spirits?
Elsa? No, Elsa was one of the children.
I mean, I have in my notes that the beast was saying that Elsa is responsible, that she's their friend and eats children. Although I guess my notes may be wrong.
Yeah, I think they're wrong.
Elsa is one of the victims. There was something...
Yeah, the only thing I have in the notes is that killed by ghost who stole soul.
Right. It seems that some sort of other spirit killed the children and stole their souls. Elsa
Right.
being one of the children.
Tell me what to ask, and I'll ask.
I
Who
would
killed
say
her? Yeah.
it's the most to the point question I can think to ask.
That or where?
Right. Ooh, where were you killed? But I don't know if it can answer that with one.
I mean, with one word.
Let's start with who.
Okay. And Geier sits down, straightens his back with a loud crack, closes his eyes, concentrates on the board, and asks, "Where were you killed?"
Evelyn smacks her face.
Okay. We'll save for Geier.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Geier, you feel the spirit pull on the planchette, taking over. And you let it. And it slides. H. I. L. L again. And then you feel in control again.
Well, the hill.
Is the spirit still here?
I mean, I think it's been here all along. I just don't think it's very open to interrogation.
I mean, so that was our. We only get one shot on the planchette.
Yep, it's a brass planchette. You only get one question.
Okay. Well,
Is the hill visible from here clearly?
Yeah, it rises kind of menacingly over and towers over the town.
I suggest we go back to Ellen's house where the spirits are still clearly present, and we try again and ask who. Although knowing that it happened on the hill is certainly useful.
Yeah, well, we can't use this wretched thing anymore. Not until tomorrow.
Oh, it's a once a day thing? Oh my god, okay. Well, that is useful though. In that case, we'll have to rely on our own wits.
Well, that's not relying on much, poor beast.
So should we head for the hill right now, or should we maybe look into the other homes?
At
How
first, I
much-
would like to check Elsa's house to see if I can find anything that stands out.
Emaírel and
They already combed it, right?
and they already did. I mean, of course you can, but it's gonna cost some time.
No.
Speaking of time, about how much time do we have left before sunset?
It's starting to set, so maybe half hour until it is properly down.
I say we go to the.
Yeah,
I say we go to the hill before night falls.
indeed, I concur. We probably should make use of available sunlight as much as we can, especially on the hill. Unless there are more bear traps in there.
If there are, Emaírel will find them.
hopefully my spear will find them.
So you head straight to the hill?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, you follow the pathways from house to house. All of them as abandoned as all the other ones, but you leave them be for now. At one point, another bear trap slams shut around Emaírel's what's it, a spear, elven spear.
Spear. Yep.
Slightly scratching the magnificent weapon, but it's easy enough to wrestle it out of there again, and you're just glad that it wasn't any of your legs. And you continue to make your way over and up the hillside until you get to the top, where a rotting scarecrow leans on a scythe. Its pumpkin face carved with a leer and a sheep's jaw hangs flaccidly below.
Evelyn's going to detect magic on that.
And is disappointed to learn that there is no magic on this scarecrow.
Geier will inspect the scarecrow, check pockets, see if there's anything on it.
No, this is indeed a proper scarecrow, so it's just a pumpkin. It doesn't have a hat at all.
Even your hats.
Scarecrows usually have cool hats.
Evelyn's gonna snatch that sheep's jaw off of it.
And with a crack it comes off. But the scarecrow does not complain.
She kind of eyes its pumpkin. Is the pumpkin head carved?
Yes, it is.
Is it fresh?
No. It's
Like,
rotting.
It would have had to have rotted away months ago. Like,
Should have. Yep, should have.
It's rotting, but it's not like completely rotted.
It might fall apart if you touch it.
Oh, okay.
As a precaution, you did say it is leaning on a site, right?
Yeah.
As a precaution, Emaírel is going to like pry the site away and just drop it on the floor.
Okay, so you kind of knock the side away, and the scarecrow comes tumbling down.
Good. Now I can trust it.
And the head, the pumpkin head, just kind of dissolves into black stuff. Totally rotten.
Well, I suggest we look for clues. If Elsa's murder happened here, then likely the others did as well. They said that the children would play outside of town and go vanishing. Honestly, I can't understand what sort of parenting skills these people had if, after the first child vanished, they continued to let the others wander. But who am I to judge? Oh, I don't think they cared about their children very much.
It's the country way, I suppose. Anyhow,
I think. Do you think we should like take 20 on this while we still have sunshine?
Probably, yeah.
Considering that yielded good results in the last location, or Arronax can just roll a 20.
Yeah, here we go. I took 20. Yeah.
And at the right time.
Yeah. Okay. So you spend some time canvassing the area. The tall grass here is kind of hard to it's making the conditions pretty hard to get a grasp of what may or may not be hidden here. And it takes quite some time to look through all of it. And by the time you make a discovery, the sun is already very low, casting everything into a dusky twilight. And in that dimly lit in those dimly illuminating last rays of the sun, Arronax finds a concealed entrance to a small cave. And as he pulls away the chunk of grass and soil that hides it, he looks at a mass of blinking eyes. And with a shriek, the mass rises from the cave, taking shape as a vaguely humanoid thing, clearly incorporeal, as it moves through the air, through the earth itself. And Arronax staggers back a couple of steps as the creature attacks. Initiative, please. Oh, somebody had the party token selected when they rolled for initiative. Was that me? No.
That probably was me. Sorry.
Yeah, it was the doctor. That's no problem. 13.
Mine would
All
be
right.
13 and not 19.
Okay, and Emaírel is 22. And Evelyn is... Where is Evelyn? There she is, 7. Okay, so Emaírel, you see that happening, and you ready yourself for action. Your turn.
Well, I would like to know what the hell is this.
All right, give me a knowledge religion check.
Don't hurt it.
There's a +2 on that.
That will be enough. This is a wraith. It's a ghostly creature. It's incorporeal. And this one looks particularly special. Usually they're only dark shapes with pinpoints of light for eyes, but this has way too many eyes. And there's this buzzing sound that surrounds it, as if the ragged, tattered mass of clothes was concealing a swarm of bees or hornets. So it's a wraith, fairly common undead creature. You rolled pretty high, so there you go. Here's a stat block.
Yay.
And in case you wonder, dusk is gonna be dark enough so that the sunlight powerlessness is not gonna trigger.
Okay, give me just a second. So for now, we still have like enough light just to see it.
What was that?
For now, we still have enough light to not be blinded. For those who don't have dark vision.
Oh yeah, it's low light conditions.
Okay. What Emarél will do is he will pull out the +1 dagger that we got. If we can agree that maybe he was carrying it.
Sorry, the what?
The +1 dagger that we got as a reward from the circus people.
Oh, I thought I had said that I had taken it.
Okay, well in that case it's with you. Okay. In that case, Emarél is going to take one standard action to use Legacy Weapon and grant his spear a +1 enhancement bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be his action, and I guess that's it. He'll just explain with his move action quickly what this creature does. Don't let it touch you.
All right. The creature, rose from the ground, shrieking, and with the doctor staggering back in front of it, it whirls around and it moves in and tries to touch him. And yeah, successfully so. I will need a fortitude save.
Whew.
So you take 2 points of negative energy damage, but your constitution remains fine for now.
Good.
And then it's your turn.
Well, in that case, Arronax staggers back some more for about a 5-foot step, and he will pull out and drink the potion of shield that he brewed before. It was by the
Okay.
Gravedigger.
Good.
Because
Geier?
fuck this.
Just give me a chance.
Geier turns. Geier says, "You creature, stop this and tell us what. Stop attacking and." Well, sorry, I was still trying to fill in the spell. Yes, he will talk to the creature and tell it to stand down and stop fighting.
Okay.
It is a charisma check.
Okay.
I don't
These
post
are the
charisma
proud.
check.
Wait, but you don't have that spell yet.
Did we not level up?
No.
No.
Not yet.
I thought you said we were leveling up. Okay.
Well,
Sometime during the session, maybe.
Probably right after this.
Yeah.
So I precipitated myself then. No, Geier does no such thing. Well, let's go. There goes my surprise action.
Hmm.
Right. So yeah, Geier will go on defense because I did not think of other actions, and I don't want to hold off the round.
All right, so you'll delay.
Yeah.
Evelyn.
Okay. Evelyn. Wait a second. Hang on. Would you say that this is this thing is humanoid?
Mm, no. It's undead.
It's undead. And it's not humanoid. Okay.
I have an interesting theory. That thing is incorporeal, so I suppose someone can just stand in its square, right?
Well, it's Evelyn's turn.
Yeah. In that case, okay. It's not. That won't. Okay. In that case, Evelyn is going to spend a swift action to gaze at it,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's going to attempt to cast oppressive boredom.
Okay. We'll save.
So it has a -2.
No!
And you need to roll a D100 if it's above 75%.
It is.
It's unaffected.
Yes! So that's probably what Evelyn does, right? She stares at it and then she goes, "Damn it!" when it doesn't seem to react.
Yeah, yeah.
Too many eyes to
Versus-
stare at.
Too many eyes. It's got more eyes than me. She's gonna pull out her wand for her move action.
Okay.
And hold it at the ready.
All right. Emaírel.
Emaírel will advance and try to attack this thing.
Yes.
I'm just putting the modifiers.
Ah. So he charges up to the creature that's hovering a good foot or two above the ground, and he connects, piercing the incorporeal thing with his spear, which is not magic, right?
It's a +1 weapon.
Oh, it's a +1, so it's gonna get half of that. Is that right? Half of the damage goes through, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's okay. So yeah, so you feel some resistance, and the swarm creature wraith starts to buzz even louder in an explosive reaction. And as you withdraw your spear, it kind of lashes out at you, trying to touch you, Emaírel. 12 to touch you, incorporeal touch.
Touch. It does hit.
So that's 6 points of damage, and I'll need a fortitude save.
It misses.
That's a fail. So you take 3 constitution drain.
Wait, didn't Emaírel say that it doesn't touch him?
No, it does. It does touch.
It does?
That's
Oh.
that's my exact touch AC.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so you take 3 points of constitution drain as the creature hits you, and you turn, like the others see the color of your skin being drained. You go pale as chalk, just as the sisters described it. Arronax.
Okay, at this point he will Arronax will take out the holy water that he prepared earlier, but he probably put it away when he suddenly got caught in a bear trap. Okay, and then he will take a step forward to this thing, and he will try to douse it with holy water. As per rules, it would be a ranged touch attack that doesn't provoke attack of opportunity.
Does provoke, okay.
No, it doesn't.
Does not. Oh, does not. Too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Too bad for it. And that would be 2d4.
And it's positive energy, right?
Of damage. Well, it doesn't actually say what kind of damage. It seems to be just untyped.
Okay. So that's 4 points. Yeah, you burn the creature slightly. Gaia, you come up again.
Geier, the air around him glows faintly with small symbols, and as he moves his lips uttering arcane words, he disrupts the undead for 2 points.
Ranged touch attack.
Yeah, you need to roll range touch first. That's not enough. The creature is very nimble, very very quick to move,
Bloody stand still.
and this little ray of positive energy just shoots right past it. Evelyn.
Evelyn's gonna try again. She's going to continue staring, and she starts speaking to it in Necrol, and says, "Look into my eyes and bend," and casts Oppressive Boredom again.
Mm-hmm. He fails his save. And fails the percentage roll.
What's the percentage roll for?
Well, it is undead, so technically it would be, I believe, immune to mind affecting things. So, but as mesmerist, she can overcome it like this.
Okay.
Am I
No,
right?
not as mesmerist per
No?
se. No, maybe Anthony can explain it
Uh,
if he wants to.
yeah, basically mesmerists have their tricks, so yeah.
Evelyn seems to have it under control for the moment, is all that matters.
Yeah. So so it got burned by the doctor's holy water. Then swirls around and by whirling around, it dodges the ray of positive energy, but some of its eyes lock gaze with Evelyn, and it just kind of sags and just hangs there, all of its eyes blinking, listlessly hovering, and even the buzzing sound seems more monotonous and bored.
And yeah, I'm just gonna. How close am I to it?
Well, basically within 30 feet, something like that.
Okay. And what? So Geier, who's right up on top of it? Emaírel?
Emaírel and the doctor is just a step away.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna move from there. I'm gonna stay put. So that's it.
Okay. Emaírel, your turn.
Emaírel is going to step back, just to put it back again within range of his spear and attack it again.
$22 is a hit. And 3 points of damage to it as it just kind of goes through the motions of trying to dodge, but just keeps its arm hanging, doesn't even seem to be interested in lashing out at you in defense.
Another will save. 17. That hits the DC, unfortunately.
So next round it can act, right?
No, I believe it gets it right away.
But it says if the target fails, it takes no action that round. Not that.
Yeah, otherwise you'd have had a spell where it failed, it saved, and it still didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's true. I think it goes to the next round. So, but it would do attacks of opportunity now. I guess that's the only benefit it has, really.
Okay. I will take that interpretation.
So
Happily.
but it's clearly shaking off Evelyn's influence, and Evelyn feels it too. Arronax.
Well, is it clear enough to Arronax?
Yeah, well, it's been just hovering there, entirely, almost apathetic, and now it's raising its arms again. It's hundreds of eyes, kind of look, give you an evil look again instead of the bored look they did before. Pretty clear.
Alright, in that case he will step back 5 feet and he will toss a bomb at this thing. Well, not at the thing, but at the ground beneath it. Trying to exclude himself and Emaírel from splash damage if it hits us by any chance. So it will. That thing will get half, I suppose, if it makes it.
Wait, so you miss, and then it goes somewhere. It's within the first range increment, so it will take the splash damage, which is 5, and gets to do a reflex save, which is 4. Failed, so but it's still going to take half, because that's... What is that, fire?
Yes.
Okay. So that is... What did I say? 5, so half of that is 2.
And I think I still will have my move action left, so Arronax will pull out another vial of holy water.
Okay. Geier?
Geier will shuffle around, making sure he keeps his distance from the apparition. This little bird flapping its wings as it shuffles, and extending one hand, he lets forth energy.
And they strike unerringly and cause 5 points of damage, greatly injuring the strange creature.
I think you should have another missile there.
I should have done what?
Like you have the damage for only one missile there, but at 3rd level you should have 2 missiles.
Can I change the level here? Because I
No,
just
you-
dragged and dropped it.
No, you have to put in another die.
Aha, because I just dragged and dropped it. Yeah, okay. So at 4th level, what do I change here?
Just roll an extra 1d4 plus 1.
So it's 2d4 plus 1 now.
No,
No,
2d4 plus 2.
it's 2d4 plus 2. Yeah, each d4 gets a +1. So that's
2d4 plus
5 plus 3, so that's 8 points of damage instead. Good. Evelyn.
Seeing that it's breaking through, this thing's harder to control than anything yet. She's gonna try out a hideous laughter. And I'm assuming that humor. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming the whole thing about humor not translating well probably applies to this.
Yeah, I would say so. So +4 on its save. I'll put the +4 into this. Made it.
Oof. Yeah. Okay.
Move action?
No, not for now.
Okay. Emaírel.
Emaírel is going to attack the thing and then take one step back.
Oh wait. Okay. Yeah, keep going.
Good hit. And 4 points of damage. And once again, the wrath creature buzzes maliciously. And then the buzzing starts to actually turn into a buzzing voice. And it says, "You are no match for me. You will soon be part of my family. Come to me, my children. Help your brothers war." And the buzzing becomes really loud, and it kind of echoes from the town below. And in the twilight of the dusk, you see dark shapes, almost like smoke, wafting out of the houses that were marked by the sisters, rising like smoke plumes, and then suddenly turning against the wind, starting to shoot towards you.
Yeah.
And he then continues to attack Emaírel.
Actually, if he's going to try to attack Emaírel, he'll have to go through a threatened square.
Take a 5-foot step.
Because I'm like I have a reach weapon and then a 5-foot step away.
Yeah, he's gonna do that. He doesn't care.
So he's gonna take an AO.
Yeah. And you miss. So he misses you too, though. Arronax.
Well, Arronax, now with holy water in hand and his confidence restored, he will cast a glance at the very disturbing sight in the village, and he will nonetheless take a 5-foot step closer to the this thing and try to muster all the confidence he has in his voice and say, "We have no fear of apparitions like you. We have slain multitudes. So now name yourself. So in the name of Arronax," and he will cast another holy water at him, another splash. So name yourself, spirit. Ranged touch. Whoa. Can I
Oh,
Nice.
can I crit with holy water?
I would say so. Yeah.
Apparently, you can.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
I am, however, going to remember to use all of my mesmerist abilities, and I choose this opportunity when it takes damage to add an extra 2 damage onto that with my
How
painful stare.
Can it
painful
even
stare. Just untyped damage.
Well, it's because it's currently under the effect of my stare. Additional damage equal to half the mesmerist's class level, so it's untyped.
Okay, and this stare works because of the way that it works.
Because I'm using my stare ability on it, my hypnotic stare.
I mean, that doesn't have any limitations on type and stuff. Or
Correct.
not. Okay, good.
yeah, I mean
So that is 6 points, which and then 2 on top of that because of the pain. So that's 8 points of damage. So it reels in pain, Geier.
Geier will chuckle at the undead's suffering and stick to his working formula. As green energy bursts from his hand.
5 points of damage.
And still hobbling along, trying to keep a safe distance from the creature.
Evelyn.
Evelyn's gonna hold off on spells for the moment because I think they might be more useful against the kids. Well, actually, no. No, let's try it again. She's gonna try Hideous Laughter one more time. So with a -2, that's a 13.
That's
Oh
fine,
man, damn those D100 rolls. Okay.
So he does chuckle a little bit, and at first you think your spell succeeded, but he only chuckles and laughs because he knows that his children are inbound. Emaírel?
Okay, is Emaírel threatening
Yes.
the creature right now? Okay.
Or he's
I'm going
right
to
next to it.
use. I'm going to. Wait, so is he threatening it or not?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if he's threatening the square adjacent.
No, he'll
Okay, so
take a 5-foot step back and then he'll be threatening it.
Okay, so as soon as he steps back and threatens, Evelyn's gonna activate her mesmerist trick on him, granting him false flanker. So he has a plus. Yeah, he has a flanking bonus to this one. An illusory version of Evelyn appears next to the creature. Or behind it, I guess.
And that's a hit for 5 points of damage.
And Evelyn will apply another 2.
And those 2 are, in fact, the 2 points that push the creature too far. And it whirls around, its hood falls off, and you see this horrifying, vaguely human-looking body underneath that has been ravaged by hornet and bee stings. It's bloated and swollen, and it's covered in bees. And but you see that only for a split second, because then it starts to fall apart, and with a shriek disappears. Once again, its shriek is echoed from town, and as you turn your gaze over to where those 5 dark, smoky shadows were moving in towards the hill, all of a sudden they stop dead in their tracks, and all 5 of them start screaming with a children's voice, and then they don't disappear. Instead, they just burst forth and kind of still shrieking, seemingly heedless, shoot off in various directions and into the rising darkness of the night.
You mentioned 5?
Yeah, didn't I say 5?
Yeah, you said
Yeah,
5,
just-
not 6.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
6
No,
kids.
it is 6. Sorry. No, it is. Wait. It's 6. Yeah. Sorry about that. There are 6.
Okay, so all the kids were
All the kids.
of
Yeah, all the
first
kids.
and then-
Yep. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Was I the only one that saw Hornet stings?
No, everybody saw that. Everybody who had line of sight saw that.
I'm asking the party.
Oh, sorry.
Oh. Arronax will sit on the ground and take a breath. Like, yeah, I think we saw it.
I guess that might be a clue as to who might this creature be.
Well, we probably can examine the cave that it came out from. It probably has its mortal remains of whatever it was in life.
Probably, yeah.
Are there any remains of this creature left?
No.
Of course not.
But you can give me knowledge local checks.
Has it been 40 minutes since Elsa's house?
Since Elsa's house. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Emaírel, you remember a story that's been told to children in Wieland that wouldn't behave, that would go out after nightfall or not come back in time, about Brother Swarm, the child killer who was caught by vigilantes and horribly executed by getting covered in honey and stung to death by hornets. And there was this story that he would still be out there, buzzing around, looking for victims, luring them away from their safe home. But you never thought that it could be real.
And now it seems like it might be. So I guess Emaírel will light a torch and get into the cave and see what's there.
You light the torch and you stick it into the cave entrance, and you have to swallow hard as you see that the cave is very small and it is crowded by the 4 skeletal remains of children that lie
4.
stuffed in there. Yes, 4.
Well, we know Elsa was brought back by our friend. That would leave one more skeleton missing.
Well, Karen was slain in her
Oh
own
yes, after the events. Yes, you're right.
bed. So it seems that those 3 sisters weren't entirely truthful when they said that the remains were recovered and sent back home to be taken care of by their families.
Well, I believe
Or at least
they said that Elsa's remains were taken care of by their parents.
they said they couldn't quite seem to remember what happened with the others.
Well, now we know.
Well, now we know.
Do you think we should take them with us?
Oh, by all means. Would you like to get a
question.
sack, Geier? Gather them up.
Yeah, I'll make sure we do this respectfully.
Oh yes, a respectful sack.
The cave. Does it look like it could fit the beast?
No, there's no way that the beast could fit in there. It is 10-foot diameter, so the beast would like barely fit in there. It's certainly not a lair for a beast.
Okay. Evelyn, I assume you will take the lead again tomorrow for the trial.
Of course, I would be happy to. I do, however, wonder if it might still not be possible to obtain a witness testimony.
Well, I very much doubt these sisters testify anything that will.
Well, my idea would be to petition the court for use of a spell to validate what we will bring as witnesses ourselves.
This is true. A use of Speak with Dead would certainly exonerate our defendant. I also wonder if we might not be able to communicate with the ghosts now. They seem to have been under the control of this wraith, and perhaps they'll be more amenable to speaking now, if they're still on the premises.
That's worth a try.
But okay,
Can I roll?
maybe I didn't make that description clear enough. But you saw those 6 wraith spawn scatter. Yeah.
Oh, I was hoping they might have gone back to their houses, but
No, not in that
Okay.
direction. They kind of like scattered out of town in all directions into the night.
this is fair enough. Well, we still ought to see what else we can see here. I'm sure some of us are wanting a good night's rest. But the houses are no longer haunted. I doubt we're going to find too much else of use there. Maybe at Karen's house. Maybe those burnt willow trees still.
So where do you want to go? What do you want to do?
The willow trees, I think.
Yeah, let's do the willow trees, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, and Geier packs up the remains,
Mm-hmm.
muttering, far as Ben writes in a couple of layers under his breath.
Make sure you keep the skulls and jaws together. We're going to need those.
Yeah, make sure they're each separate and distinguishable one from each other. And he's gonna leave them as they are and just kind of forage in when they go to one of the houses for linens or something to wrap them in and then put them in a sack.
Okay. And then you head over to the willow trees.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just step down the hill. You descend down into town. Darkness has now fallen all around you. And I gotta check on Frida.
Be back in a second as well.
For the trial, I was wondering if we could request something to, like, apart from speak with that, something to like confirm our eyewitness account, if you want, like a zone of truth or something like that.
Alright, looks like Frida found her pacifier on her own. So yeah, darkness has fallen all around you, and when you get to that tangle of willow trees by the shores of the small lake, in the light of your torches, you see that they've been scarred badly by fire. May have this like tangled grove of sorts. May have once looked like a house almost, with like walls, kind of like a wall-like structure, and there's something like an archway that almost looks like a door, but it's pretty much burned down.
Evelyn will try to approach and peer inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perception checks. Okay, just Emaírel and Evelyn. You find some spent torches on the ground, or more like the remains of them. They must have been lying here for months. But other than that, there's nothing left here. Looks like they did a thorough job of burning everything down.
No indication of why they burnt it down?
None that you can tell.
Okay. Should we even bother with any of the other houses or the chapel?
Well, we're here anyway. May as well be thorough.
Okay. I guess we'll hit up the
Let's.
Karen's house and the chapel.
Yeah, and after that we might as well return, I suppose.
Yeah, and we might even get a normal night's sleep in.
Okay. So which was the next stop? Sorry.
I guess Karen's house. Then we'll hit the chapel on the way out of town.
Karen's house. All right. The house appears to be in better condition than the others in the village. Its doors shut and barred.
It's locked? Barred, you said.
And it's been nailed shut.
I mean, I'm sure we can figure out a way in. I know doors and locks are not our forte, but at least there's no one around this time.
So you're looking for a way inside?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Guess
just
so.
easy enough. Through one of the windows wouldn't be a problem.
Guess we'll take a look around inside. Evelyn's not gonna like climb over the windowsill. She'll just like peer in and look around as best she can.
So you unlatch one of the shutters, open it, and they open with this screech. You look inside, and inside is a sad display of a house that looks as if it's still waiting for its owners to return. Hasn't been looted from the looks of it. And you peer into the kitchen, and beyond you see the stairs leading up to the second floor, and some other rooms on the first floor.
Did we bother going in any further? I suppose if there is any evidence to be found, we're not going to find it out here.
Yeah, well. We might as well be thorough.
Is there like glass in
means-
the windows?
Yes, there's glass.
Here's where Geier will see if he can find some sheets or linens or anything. Maybe.
Okay. Evelyn will just take a rock and smash it through the window.
Yeah, that's the most straightforward way to open it. Nobody's surprised. Nobody takes offense. Nobody says anything about that.
Smash and grab.
Nobody inside the house does, apparently.
Nope.
Nobody outside does either.
Gary just flinches at the noise.
Yeah, I guess Evelyn will like. She kind of sees everyone like standing around, not doing anything. So she kind of sighs and she'll like wrap her hand up in a fold of cloth and like brush away the glass from the frame and hop in.
Okay. Yeah, you hop in. You find yourself in the kitchen. There's there are doorways leading to like living area, dining room. There's a staircase leading upstairs.
Yeah. She starts wandering around the darkened house.
It's neat, tidy, just dusty.
No books, no journals, no convenient notes.
Nothing of the sort.
Scrolling out what happened. Okay.
Well, I guess Emaírel will assist.
This is with what?
Going inside and snooping around.
On the first floor, or you gotta be more specific. It's an entire house.
Okay. Evelyn's gonna try and find the bedroom.
Okay.
Karen's bedroom.
Geier will follow along behind Evelyn.
There's no bedroom on the first floor, so you make your way up the stairs, creaking every step of the way. And upstairs, there are several bedrooms. One of them is clearly Karen's. You can tell from the nice and loving woodwork that has been carved into her door. And what was your? No, you didn't already roll. You can give me a perception check for that.
I can't carry over the one from outside the house.
Outside?
No, this is fine.
Oh yeah, outside. We can use the outside one too, but
Or we can use
first...
the inside one that I just rolled.
No, we use both, but
Okay.
let's start with the inside one. I didn't realize that you rolled that one for the outside. Yeah, so you inspect her room, and it's fairly unremarkable. It's just a little girl's room, although everything valuable has been removed. But there are even still toys here, as if the parents were waiting for her to come back. There's just a single window, and you look outside, and it's 15 feet up from the ground. And you notice that it's unmarked in any way, shuts from the inside with a stout latch, still intact. Everything is fine. Kind of a mystery to you how anyone would have managed to break in, kill her in her sleep.
Well,
Especially since you also noticed when you were looking outside, you noticed that the wall is slanted timber. It's really difficult to climb, and there were definitely no marks.
well, considering what we have just fought, that now something killing her in her sleep without leaving a mark becomes much more plausible in such perspective, I suppose.
Well, I guess these are the sorts of details that we should be lowering down and using as arguments
Yes.
during the trial.
And how big is the window?
It's just probably like a foot across and maybe 2 feet high. Too small for the beast to fit through. It would have
Yeah.
popped half of the wall out.
Right. Good. Yes. Can certainly make note of all this. I'm sure that it will create quite a stir amongst the trial goers. They'll be shocked by all of the thorough investigation we did about how the beast couldn't possibly have climbed in here, especially when we present them with 4 bodies of children. But yes, no, nonetheless, we should be thorough. Okay. Is there any indication of like maybe if there was like a study or the parents maybe had some sort of office type space?
No, they were farmers. They don't have an office. They just have another bedroom up here, and then that's that.
Okay, I want to search that bedroom then too.
Okay. We give it a thorough search, but it's basically stripped clean. They took everything they owned with them.
Okay.
Before leaving on the first floor, I would like to check if there's any cellar door, or, trap door under a rug.
Mm-hmm.
kind of situation.
Perception. There aren't even any rugs around, so it's fairly easy to scan the first floor for anything like that, and there are no trapdoors, nothing.
Just a tragic house. Shall we continue on our way?
I suppose so.
Evelyn's going to take one of Karen's toys that's left there.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
It's a doll with straw for hair and 2 buttons for eyes.
I don't suppose, Emaírel, you can get anything off of this as you did with that shovel yesterday.
I can try, but it's probably been too long since. And he's going to grab it and see what he can hear.
What did the doll see? That's how it works, right?
And you focus on it. Give me a second. Yeah, but other than echoes of pain, horror, and death, great evil that's been present, you get nothing specific.
Nothing else. Well, that's a pity. In that case, Evelyn will kind of take the doll and just leave it on the bed. Just drop it. And
why, you're not going to use it as emotional leverage in tomorrow's trial? I'm surprised.
oh, well, I do believe one of the judges there is not so big on rhetoric, so I think it would only frustrate her at the very least. Or him. Which one was it? I can't remember. Either way, I don't think that it will necessarily play very well.
Is there a graveyard around the chapel or somewhere else?
So do you want to go to the chapel?
Yeah, I think we're done here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you move to the chapel, small whitewashed timber building standing in the center of the village, pretty much. And indeed, it is surrounded by gravestones. It looks like the village chapel was dedicated to Desna, but it already shows the signs of its abandonment. Within, simple chapel is falling victim to rot. Its pews are already overgrown. Some of its windows are smashed. There are mice nesting in the altar. The holy water in the font is turning green. And the once beautiful frescoes depicting Desna and the heavens have begun to flake.
Before going in, Geier will inspect the graveyard. Just keep an eye out on the dates on the tombstones or whatever effigies or however they mark their graves.
With great expertise, or like almost subconsciously, you take in the layout of the graveyard and you immediately know where to go for the most recent graves. And you find...
Can I use Profession Gravedigger?
No, it's fine, it's fine. You find the graves of the 6 murdered children easily enough. They're named and dated. But you can give me a Profession Gravedigger for something else. Just roll for it. No. No.
Emaírel is going to try and see what would be the most recent grave apart from those of the children, like one that would happen to be just before the children.
Okay, so you look over all the gravestones, looking for the next one before that, which was a woman named Tilda, and last name Henkel. She died of old age, it seems like, because she aged well into her 70s.
And apart from her, anyone else? Someone that might be labeled as having been killed by hornets?
Oh, nothing of the sort, no.
Well,
Just out of curiosity, any relatives of the 3 women?
It's a small town, so sure. They're bound to be people with the same last name.
Okay. Evelyn just kind of...
buried in these graves is not the children. So, can somebody help me dig them up? See what they buried in there?
Well, it was probably just for you don't need to have a body to have a
I don't
grave.
know, but they lied about one thing before. Put them past them to lie again.
You're gonna dig up what all of these graves? These 4 graves?
6.
All 6 of them? I'm going back to the carriage. I'm gonna have Jacopo set up a tent for me. I think I'll be lounging in there. Do let me know when you're finished.
Well, I mean, I thought it made sense, no?
It's just going to take a long time. It takes like
And we don't really have time.
hours to dig up one.
Yeah, no. I'm out of ideas.
The real question is, do we do think, Sam, you were bringing this up before. We do think that we'll be able to have access to the spells we need to use our encounter as evidence, right? Do we think we'll be able to petition to get a zone of truth or a speak with dead spell cast?
I think at least the speak with dead might be considered because we did bring the bodies, and that would be at least something material that would point to the need for that. I don't know if they'll allow the zone of truth for our testimonies.
Roll knowledge arcana or spellcraft. The ones that
Okay.
have
Speak
that.
with. Yeah, I was about to say speak with dead is necromancy, so I don't know if a priest of Pharasma is going to be.
No, necromancy
Down
is
to
not inherently evil. There are spells that are labeled as evil, but necromancy
Okay.
itself is just another school of magic.
I just thought
However,
I thought they were anti-necromancy, but yeah, go ahead.
no, they are anti-undead. Emaírel, however, realizes that for speak with dead to work, its spirit must have laid to rest, and with the wraiths having dispersed into all the four winds, but no clue where they went, he doesn't really see a chance for you to use that in court tomorrow.
Oh. Well, do we know what we could do to lay them to rest? We did defeat the thing that killed them.
Yeah,
What
I mean,
else
you
could
have
we-
the stat block, so you know how this works.
Well, that would have made things so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, I guess we ought to make one more stop by Elsa's house. I basically just want to see if we can find any any sign, anything that might have indicated Elsa's friendship with the beast.
So give me a perception check.
15.
Well, like I said, the house is just a pile of rubble, pretty much, and it's just all covered in dust, and there's plants growing all over it. But there's one thing that sticks out: a little book, slightly burned. It's a Talden book of poetry. It looks like. Most of the pages are either faded, weathered, or burnt. But there's a half page that's still legible. And it starts with, "We rest. A dream has power to poison sleep. We rot." And that's where it stops.
Can Geier go back to the cemetery and take 10 there?
Do you want to go back to the cemetery?
He didn't want to go to Elsa's house to begin with. Kind of just like.
Okay, so he stays behind. Okay, sure. And take 10 on what?
Just going around the cemetery trying to see if anything sticks out. He just has a bad feeling, like something's amiss.
Okay, if you take 10 on perception, then where does that get you? No, if you take 10 on perception, then what does it?
Perception. Yeah, perception. Much better.
14. Yeah, that feeling of uneasiness and dread is certainly strong and persistent. Especially since you're constantly find yourself wandering back to those 6 graves of those children that have been taken way too young. It definitely feels wrong, since you know that you have 4 of them in your bag. Which doesn't feel wrong to you in itself, but the fact that they're at the same time buried here and in your bag, it's just on so many levels that bothers you. But as you stand here in the darkness, the stars twinkling down on you, you have no clue what it is.
You see, Yorick, something's wrong, and if I can dig them out, but these fools, they don't understand.
So
There's
over
gotta be
Huh?
something.
over at Elsa's house, you found the book. What do you do?
I'm trying to search back in my memory to anything that the beast said about him and Elsa. He said they were friends. I'm trying to remember if he ever said what they did together.
Not really. He said that she was friendly, and they were friends, and nothing specific.
Emaírel maybe will give a once over to that poetry book.
Okay. There are these echoes of death that surround this. But there's some other quality here as well. Something much more positive, almost joyful, like friendship. But it's drowned out by lots and lots of anger, hate, violence. Nothing specific though.
Does Emaírel share this at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably spark at something for Evelyn. I do wonder if the beast would recognize this. Either the book or the words. I think we ought to hold on to this one.
Okay.
Anything else you want to do in Herkstack?
I think that's about it.
Yeah, I'm out of ideas, basically. I feel like there was more to see at the willow trees, but we missed it.
Well,
We didn't look inside the chapel.
You did.
Oh,
okay, we'll trust you.
well, I guess that's it.
Okay. So you return to the chapel to pick up Geier, who's still pacing between the tombstones. And as you draw near, it's kind of a disconcerting view, seeing him mumbling things under his breath to his bird that's sitting perched on one of the tombstones.
Is the ghoul of Lepidstadt feeling peckish?
That's actually a good one. Yes, he is. And he starts digging a bit clumsily at one of the graves. At least just one. I just need to see what's in there.
Very well, but I really am going to my carriage.
Hey, I don't need you for the digging. We'll let you know when we find something. Come on.
Okay, so you want to dig?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna take hours. Just saying.
I mean, one hole.
Sure.
Yeah, I think by this point my mutagen will run its course, and so and Arronax will return to his normal state.
Okay, so Evelyn is gonna sleep in the coach if Geier wants to go through with digging the hole, because like I
His
said,
back gives out after a short while. His arm cramps up, and he's like,
right. The strength is
just manages to get himself covered in mud.
okay.
Emaírel will say that if you do feel very strongly about this, I can continue this for you.
No, there's something. I just can't put my finger on it.
I mean, out of character, I'm fine with it. It's just Evelyn would have no part of the
Yeah, no,
manual labor.
absolutely makes sense.
Like,
And if I had something more concrete, as in, yeah, this is what we would need to do, then Geier would be more insistent. But since it's just a hunch, and Geier has been known to, have weird hunches that don't normally pan out, then it's perfectly understandable.
Well, I'll say this: we don't really have anything else to investigate tomorrow morning, so we could make it a later night and sleep in.
yeah, I
tomorrow.
mean, we're still not that far past sunset, right? I mean, you said the
Yeah, it's
sunset's
like-
early, so what is
But
it
I mean,
like?
by the time Geier gives up, it's we're at around 9 p.m. So, but he already dug for an hour, so he already did some work. It would probably take till midnight to keep going.
If the others are willing to help a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we don't have anything planned for tomorrow morning, so I guess we can do that.
Yeah,
for
we can
tonight.
get up a little later. Well, you guys can. Evelyn's fine.
All right, so I guess Emaírel will take over the spade duty.
Okay. Which grave are you digging up?
I would say Elsa's.
Don't you want to dig up one of the graves that doesn't have a body in it? Because Elsa's body will definitely be there.
Yeah, good point. Okay, no, then another one.
One of the 4 that we retrieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, which one? I mean, you don't know which 4 you retrieved.
I think we'll pick randomly. Because we know Elsa's not there, and who else?
Yeah, Elsa and Karen. So
Oh yeah, then any of the 4 that doesn't say Elsa or Karen.
let's go with Martin.
Okay. So you keep on digging, taking turns on the spade. Emaírel doing the brunt of the work, though, since Geier can only work for
Geier is
short.
giving out pointers.
Yeah.
Yeah, use your back and put your foot in and those kind of things.
And by midnight, you finally give up. You've been digging for hours now, and Geier is very, very sure that by now you should have hit the casket if there was anything buried down here.
There's nothing, huh?
Just nothing.
Would we know if that's the custom for when there is nobody? Shouldn't there be like an empty coffin?
I think so.
You give me a knowledge religion.
Damn, I am rolling so bad today.
Well, Geier is like, there's got to be a coffin. Why is there nothing here? There at least has to be an empty coffin. But Emaírel, you've traveled more than Geier. You know that in rural communities, practicality is sometimes more important than religious adherence to the letter of the word. And casket is a pretty expensive thing, so it's quite possible that they did not bother to sink an empty casket into the ground.
Okay, well, I guess we'll just pack that back in quickly and make our way back to town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry for wasting your time.
Okay, by the time you get to the coach, you'll probably hear Evelyn. Evelyn's heavy breathing inside. Not saying she's snoring.
Oh, she's not in the carriage. She's got like her servants have set up like a tent. She's got a portable bathtub. She's had her bath. She's got chairs. She's got wine. She's like it's like all set up for. She spent the evening lounging there very peacefully out under the stars. And yeah, I guess she's probably asleep now though in her tent.
Is there room for more people?
It's a medium-sized tent, so I think it's sized for 2.
But she probably spread out through
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest of the group scooches into the carriage, or what's the plan?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find
So-
somewhere along- yeah.
Okay, so Evelyn has the next morning, and when the first light of the day falls.
I would assume her servants wake her. We're going back to town, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Okay, sure. So, nevertheless, in the wee hours of the morning, the carriage rattles over the cobblestones of Lippstadt once more, holding our 4 investigators, Evelyn's servants, and 4 dead children in a bag, and many, many questions, and a couple of answers. And that's our session.
Okay.
Oh, no trial.